Hi, I'm Andy with EcoCha, and here we are with batch number 17 of the EcoCha Tea Club. And this month we have an award-winning Alishan High Mountain tea to share with our Tea Club members. This tea was entered into last year's winter tea competition, of which there were over 1,000 entries, and achieved the prizes of both silver and gold medal awards. Our friend, who is one of the top players in tea competitions here in Taiwan overall. He enters virtually every competition in central Taiwan, as well as others, and does very well. He procured this winter harvest of Alishan High Mountain tea from the village of Jiangsuhu. So our friend procured several batches and roasted them very lightly, as has become the standard in the Meishan Farmers Association competition. They adjusted the standard to become a slightly, very subtly roasted high mountain oolong. And the main purpose of this is to give it more stability so that it's not very fresh green tea leaves that will change quickly after the vacuum sealed package is opened. So by just barely roasting the tea leaves, it stabilizes them a little more, and after you open a pack of tea, the quality will remain more effectively than if it's completely fresh. And we're quite happy to see this. We think that not only is it an improvement in terms of the consistency of quality and the shelf life of a given batch of tea, the character of the tea changes ever so subtly, but it does change, and it offers a more full-bodied, mellow quality. What was a very flowery, fresh, green, sometimes even grassy aroma has become more of, it's still a floral, but there's this, it's a balance with what might be called a pastry aroma, a freshly baked pastry aroma. Yeah, I'm definitely getting this off this first brew. It's a sweetness and a softness, and it's not so perfumey. And in terms of the brew itself, it has a richness that wouldn't be there if it wasn't lightly baked or roasted. And it's more of a balanced, smooth quality. And so it just has more substance as a result of being very, very lightly roasted. It wouldn't even be called a light roasted tea. It's just enough to remove all moisture from the tea leaves so that it preserves their freshness and the leaves are not so volatile. In the end, in the long run, I should say, it's just more satisfying to me and for other people who drink this tea on a regular basis, perhaps daily. It's much less likely that one will tire of the flavor profile with this slight adjustment via roasting. For this type of tea, I like to push it. I like to go a little more than usual, definitely more than a roasted tea like a dongding, and even more than a fully unroasted high mountain tea, because it can handle it. It can handle that concentrated flavor. There's a range though, and you can play with that. If you put less leaves and have a less concentrated brew, you will get more of the subtle aromatic qualities, and the floral notes will come out more obviously. If you go with more tea leaves and brew it in higher concentration, it's just a richer, thicker textured, kind of smooth, but very substantial flavor that just goes straight across the palate. And it's really hard to pinpoint a particular note, but it's very full and also complex. So again, I think one of the most prominent aspects is a balanced, fresh brew. Really good, almost like a custard quality I'm getting out of it now. Definitely a sweetness, and particularly in the nose. Alishan is known for its softer qualities, basically more friendly flavor profile for especially for newcomers to this tea type. And I think that's why Alishan internationally is probably the more renowned out of any of the high mountain tea names. This batch of tea that we're sharing with our tea club members this month is the remainder of 4 different batches that were entered into the competition. And the majority of the remainders of these batches achieved gold medal prize, which is well within the top 10% of over 1,000 entries. And a smaller portion of this mixed batch achieved silver medal prize, which is top 15% for the silver medal prize. So again, one of the unique aspects of this tea is that it is a combination of batches that were procured from the same small village, the same region, but they were harvested on different days and roasted at different times. And these very subtle differences might be almost undetectable when you're comparing them singly, but putting them together, to me, inevitably results in a broader spectrum of flavor and a fuller quality to the overall character of the tea. Yeah, freshly baked scones with this subtle floral aftertaste, and then that turns into a very subtle vegetal quality. Very soft, very friendly, just enough astringency to make it a vibrant aftertaste. Almost no bitterness at all, which is pretty amazing given I have about over 10 grams of tea in a teapot here that's probably less than 150 milliliters. It's not overly, I didn't overly stuff the teapot. When the leaves can fully open and there's still enough room for them to barely move around in there, that's about the highest concentration that I think is appropriate for a high mountain tea. But again, play with it. Brew this tea with less leaves to get more floral, subtle floral notes in the aromatic qualities. And then if you're interested, you can go for a little more leaves, a little higher concentration in the brew to get a more a fuller flavored, very smooth, substantial quality. We're really happy with this batch, and the last thing I'd like to mention is that it is a winter harvest, and it does embody some of the more historical characteristics of a winter harvest that are harder to find now, given that the climate seems to have changed to an extent where the seasons are less distinguishable than they used to be. This has that kind of mellowed, richer quality from a winter harvest, as opposed to a more fresh floral quality that comes with spring. So there you have it, award-winning Alishan High Mountain Tea to share with our Tea Club members. We're pretty sure you're going to like this one, and we'll see you next month. Thanks.